Self-care. That's today's topic. We are going to be covering the 4 tips to help you get some self-care this year. And welcome to 2022. Amanda, I'm so excited for this episode.
Woo woo.
If you are new to us, welcome. We are streaming live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. So you get to wake up and start your week off right. And right now you get to start off your new year right with us
What up?
here. Yes,
First
here
work day
on
of the
our
year.
live show. And if you're new, be sure to say hello in the comments down below. Real estate marketing and coffee, and we go live every Monday at 8 a.m. to talk about what, Amanda? What do we like to talk about on this show?
Really a little bit of everything, but we love to talk about just what our title is: real estate marketing, ways to gain and keep clients, kind of the whole gamut.
Yeah. And we do that because as a real estate agent and as entrepreneurs, we have a lot going on in our worlds.
Mhm.
And throughout our days and weeks, there's a lot of different things that cross over because we're all running a business. And if we're not, we need to learn how to run a business, especially when it comes to being online. And
I
so
know. I told you she was going to try so hard to be on the show today.
it's all good. If you guys are just listening to us, we do have the video option available. And so Amanda was removing her cat because her cat wanted to be on the show today.
She's
That's
got stuff and things to say, man.
yeah, that's what we love to talk about here is, just a little bit of everything, and everyone wants to be up in our space. So you're the right spot. So today we're going to be talking about the 4 tips to self-care. What we're going to do is we're actually going to run through all 4 pretty quickly here at the beginning, but you're going to want to stick around because we're going to then dive in deeper to these 4 tips
Mhm.
because a lot of them cross over with each other and
Yeah.
really will help you set some boundaries and keep on task for this new year. So, Amanda, what do we want to talk about for number 1 as we dive into the 4 tips of self-care?
All right. Well, you just said it. You let us right in there. It's set boundaries.
Yes.
Number one. And this one I think is so hard, but I can't wait to talk about it. So I'm just going to hold my tongue.
Yes. So number 1 is set boundaries. Number 2 is going to be don't be afraid to say no. And again,
Yeah.
we're going to go into these here in a few minutes a little bit deeper, but we wanted to give you a quick overview of them. So 1 was set boundaries. 2 is don't be afraid to say no. Amanda, what is number 3?
Taking care of you.
Yes, not taking care of business, but taking care of you.
Yeah. And not clients first, you first.
Yes. And again, we'll dive into that
Mhm.
further. And number 4 is find ways to decompress during your day. This is
Ooh,
huge. And like I said,
good
all of
one.
these are going to tie into each other,
Yeah.
which is why we're going to dive in deeper. But those are going to be the 4 that we're going to be working off of. If you have more that you would like to share, even if you're watching the replay,
Mhm.
please be sure to drop them in the comments down below. To quickly summarize before we dive into these is going to be set boundaries, don't be afraid to say no, take care of yourself, and find ways to decompress throughout your day.
All 4.
During your day, not once a week or once a month or 6 months or once a
Once a
year.
year.
We want it every day. All right, so Amanda, we were talking about boundaries. Let's jump in there because I know everyone listening is going to have issues with this, and there's
Oh
going to be
gosh, yes.
all kinds of conversations around this. So let's dive into it.
Yeah, I think this one is probably, and I love that it's number one because it's probably the hardest challenge I think real estate agents have, both in business and personally, right? Setting boundaries with clients because we want, you know, we're in the people industry. We want people to be happy. So super easy to really tote that line of setting boundaries with your clients, but then also with you and having that work-life balance. It's so tricky in a sales-driven industry. So this even supersedes obviously just real estate, but I think sales people specifically have a hard time with this because the more they work and the more they do, traditionally speaking, the more money they're going to make. And so they tend to be high drivers, people who are go, very type A, which is great. It serves them well, but it also has that counteract um, of really struggling to set boundaries for that reason. So,
Yes. And I will say, when I started my consulting business
Mhm.
from the day one, I set office hours. And
So smart.
I will say it is, and it's also the hardest thing
Mhm.
to keep because as a party of one, you set the rules, but you also get to break the rules, and
Yep.
there's really no consequences. I mean, there are, but not to you in
Your
that
boss isn't
moment.
gonna yell at you.
Yes, exactly. And they're not going to be sitting there
Mhm.
saying, "Listen, you got to go. Like you've put in enough
Yeah.
time, you got to go." So, for me, from day 1, I implemented office hours,
Oh,
and
so good.
I really do try, even to this day, 7 years into the business, I try to stick to those office hours as much as possible because it's a respect to myself, but
Yeah.
also to my clients, and they
Of
also know
course.
that. So having office hours is really, really important no matter what type of business you're
Mhm.
running.
Well, and I love Brene Brown says, clear is kind. And I love that because I find that so true, right? Clarity is power. And when we're clear with our people, we are both being kind and we're empowering them to make decisions according to the confines we've laid out, right? And so you're telling your clients, hey, I'm going to be at my best from 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is when you're going to get the A plus version of Ed. And that's what I can guarantee you.
Yes.
And you're helping them see like, hey, this is my boundary, but like this is when you're going to get the best of me. Because if you're texting me at midnight, you're not going to get the best version of me. And not only are you not going to get the best version, but I'm probably going to get a little frustrated. And so we're not starting off on the right foot. So here's my boundary, 9 to 5. And there's ways to, if this doesn't work for you truly, if we
Right.
can't find a time, let me know. It's not saying you have to just be only 9 to 5. Sorry, your schedule only accommodates for 9:15 or 5:15 or something. But having that confine that allows people to know when and how to show up, I think is so cool.
Yeah, it really is. And this is going to tie into that second one in
Mhm.
just a second, where we second one in just a second. See what I did there? Into
True,
the
true,
don't be
true.
afraid to say no. But
Yeah,
understand that when it comes to office hours, like you said, Amanda, you're setting them. Ideally, you're not breaking them, but if you do, it's for certain things
yeah,
that you're willing to accommodate, that you feel are going to be in your best interest
yeah,
as well as in your client's best interest. So by you setting those office hours, it doesn't mean that it's in
yeah.
stone, that you can't break them ever,
Mhm.
and that you're too boxed in. Because I know a lot of people are probably listening to this and they're thinking, there's just no way I can't do that. My schedule's crazy.
Yeah,
I need to be available 24/7. The world's going to end if I don't do 24/7. Like, listen, we're giving you permission right now to grant yourself some grace, set
yeah,
some boundaries for yourself, and be okay with having office hours. Ideally, you're publicly sharing this. Like I have it in my email footer so that it's in every single email, but you
right.
have it at least written down for yourself if you just want to get started with that.
Mhm.
But the more you talk about it, the more that you put it out there in the world, the easier it's going to be to actually stick to those office hours
Yeah.
and be okay with having workable hours
Mhm.
because you need them, especially these days because there's really no separation between work and home life at
Yep.
all. So it's really, really important to have that.
Especially in this COVID era where we're working from home, like it's more vital now than ever because like take someone like me. I am single, no kids, just me and a cat, as you saw, right? And so it's really easy for me to blur those lines. And I can only imagine it would stay easy for me, even if I had a spouse or
Yes.
children, because I'm right here. This is my, well, other way, this is my living room, right? Right behind me. And so I can, oh, let me watch this TV show and then I'll hop right back in. And so it's so easy to do those things. But anyone who knows me has heard this phrase. I preach this at my core because I believe in it. But what you build it on, you must maintain it on, unless there's going to be a major painful shift, right? So if I start accepting client calls or setting meetings at 9 p.m., that automatically sets the tone, business and personal, that this is a time that Ed is available.
Yes.
So now your client thinks, man, Ed is so great because he answers the phone at 9 p.m. And that might be so, but are you going to get frustrated every time they call you at 9 p.m.? Because
Yes.
in your head, you're thinking it's 9 p.m. Like I do this every time. And then I'm like, oh, hold on. Where's my DNA in this? Because I've probably talked to this client before at 9 p.m. because most people don't just think we should talk at 9 p.m. So
Right.
where's my DNA in that? And you can break it. It's not saying you can't shift. You have the right to change your mind. But you can, it's going to require pain and not fun conversations where you have to go, hey, Mr. Client, I know that I've been talking to you at 9 p.m. And so it's
Yes.
just easier to build it the way that you want it to look on the front end.
Yeah. And here's the thing. And those of you tuning in, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe a lot of us have the need to respond right away.
Yes.
So I know that when I started in the beginning days of my business, I was that person
Mm-hmm.
responding to those emails at 9 because, again, like you, single, and I
Yeah.
just have a dog. So why not? And I don't like having things pile up in my inbox. So
Yep.
I try to check things off as quickly as possible. So 9 p.m., yeah, I can answer that email and
Sure.
send it back. The problem is then you train the
Mm-hmm.
client that you're 24/7 and you're not going to have any respect later
Mm-hmm.
when you want your me time. And so
Yeah.
what happened was I personally had to tell myself no, and then I had to start to schedule those emaels to be
Oh,
sent at a
so
later
good.
time.
So
That
good.
that was a lean in moment, by the way. That was a
Pro tip.
that was a little secret that I just let you have there. But thankfully, with technology these days, we can do that. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're the type that you catch yourself in the late hours responding to emails when you really probably shouldn't be, then either schedule them to go out the next day or save it as a draft so
Yep.
that way you're not instantly sending it at that moment and letting people know that you're available 24/7 because it's
For
not going to be
sure.
healthy.
For sure. And I think that's such a good tip because I think we're constantly like, well, my email will build up and how will I, but
Mhm.
what you're saying is exactly our number two. It's how to say no. And you're saying, hey, I'm not willing to build that standard. I'm not willing. And so because I'm not willing, I'm saying no to that. But here's how I can do a both and scenario. Where I can get it cleared off my brain. I can feel like my inbox is handled so I can start today or tomorrow in a better headspace. And the client has no idea. And
Yeah.
so, your email goes out at 9 a.m. So you can mentally clear it from your head, right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's handled. Now I can start we'll take today, for example. Now I can start Tuesday in a clear headspace. I
Right.
know I don't have any to-dos to do. And I've set the boundary. But I'm
Yeah.
saying no to the rat race, essentially.
Exactly. And that's going to be huge. I love a couple of these examples that I pulled when it comes to saying no. Is don't feel like you have to list every home that comes along.
Yes.
I feel like that pressure is so strong,
Oh, it's so
especially
real.
right now.
Yes. Yeah, especially well, really in any market. But when you're in a seller's market and, sellers are the name of the game right now. And so every listing coming along, this is such a vital thing because so often, especially when we're newer, we're wanting to take reduced commissions or we're wanting to do these asinine things. Like, sure, I can list this by Tuesday, and we're not in, there's paperwork involved and photos and we say yes, 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 and we're over promising and under delivering in every scenario like that. And so I'm a big believer in alignment. Like you and I and our philosophies have got to match. Like I don't work with people, and any client can come to me, and if I don't feel like we're a match, I'm not going to work with you because we're not in alignment. And so we're never going to quite line up in that way. And so being okay with saying no to that, because everything you're saying yes to is taking away from another yes. And so if it's and you're the person you need to be taking care of right now, but you're saying yes to all these clients, you're going to get burnt out.
Yep. And we'll talk more about that here in just a second. The other example here for the not saying no enough is don't take on clients if you feel that they don't respect your boundaries.
Ooh, ties
Because
into
that's the
number
thing.
one.
Yeah, I think that that's, again, we've really been drilling down on this boundaries
Mhm,
thing because it's so important and it's so easy for us to overlook.
mhm.
But when it comes to any type of work, we are always going to have boundaries set, because if
Yep,
we don't, we know things get out of hand. And I can guarantee you
and
every single one of
quickly.
you tuning in has had at least one example where things got a little out of hand because you didn't set boundaries in the
Yep,
beginning. And I love the fact that we're also talking about how you don't have to have everyone as a client.
yep,
Not every home is going to be the home that you need to be selling. Not every
yep,
client is going to be the client that you should be working with, because not all money is good money, even if you
yep,
really
so
need the
true.
money.
Well, and some things just aren't worth it, right? Like, if let's say I'm gonna make 3% off your $500,000 home that I'm listing, but you want me to call you every hour on the hour and we talk for 15 minutes, and you also want me to host an open house all weekend, 8 hours a day, both days, like, by when all is said and done, I'd rather say no to that, save the time, and then hopefully find someone. And you never know, you could find someone you're listing 3% that's going to be $1 million listing in half the time because they're like, just sell my home. I don't care. So that
Yes.
alignment piece is so key here because in the long run, when your clients are respecting your boundaries and you're respecting your own boundaries,
Yep.
you're more productive.
Yeah. And that's why boundaries was number one on this list. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Um, and we talked about this already, but going into taking care of yourself, like, remember that you
Mhm.
are what makes you different from everyone else.
Yep.
You are your business, and you are the thing that makes it run. I don't care if you have a team and systems and
Yep.
everything. If you go
You're
down,
the heartbeat. Yeah.
everything else takes a dip. May not crash depending on how you have it set up, but everything else goes down because it's you that needs to be in tip-top shape.
Oh, for sure. This always makes me think of that airplane analogy, right? Where it's like where they say every plane ride. And every plane ride I think about, it always gives me the visual of burnout. If I don't put my own mask on first, how can I help anyone else? And I always think about like moms in these scenarios. I'm sure moms in the plane crash, this is the hardest for them because they're like, save my baby first. But if they start saving, say they have 4 kids, if they start saving one, they might lose the other three because they themselves were, not aired up or whatever the correct vernacular is, but they get
It's
burnt out and then they can't do anything, right? And so you're once again less productive, less efficient.
Yeah, and it does feel weird because if you're like us, you're always wanting to serve. You're always wanting to
Yep.
help, and you want the best for your clients, which is awesome. It is so good that you want that and that you are willing to go the extra mile
Mhm.
over and over and over again for them. But just like we need it, we're giving it to you. We need to hear that voice of reason and understand there are boundaries that need to be
Yep.
set. There are limits to that, because if we burn out, everything else burns out too. And here's the thing, it doesn't become enjoyable or fun
Yeah.
anymore. Like, what you like to do, you start to resent. And
I
if you
always
do
say it
that
becomes a
consistent,
got to, not a get to. When
yeah,
it's a get to and it's like, man, I get to serve my clients today. I get to, man, you're going to work. You'll never work a day in your life. But when it's a
exactly.
got to, and that's how I can always tell I'm leading towards burnout is because in my head, I'm like, I got to do this. Like, and then I'm like, okay, hold on. We are wildly thankful for the business that we have and in the world we get to live in. Right. But then
Yep.
it becomes a chore and I'm instantly like, oh, hold on. Perspectives out of alignment here. We need to take care of ourselves.
Yes. And we talked about, right before the show started, a little example about the whole burnout, getting lead generation. Can you share more about that, Amanda? Because I know that that's going to apply for agents across the board and really anyone who's running their own business,
Yeah.
because lead generation is always key part to our businesses.
Oh, so true, so true. Yeah, so I always think about the real estate agents who are trying to force themselves into lead gen in the early on, or really at any point, and I think they get to this burnout place. And I'm so guilty of this myself, where I'll push something off because I'm feeling burnt out. And so I'm ignoring me, and I push something off and push something off and push something off. So we'll take lead generation.
Yep.
It's Monday. Maybe I wake up and I'm just not feeling it today. Like today, I'm not making any calls, not feeling it. And then it piles on to Tuesday, and then it piles on to Wednesday, right? Now, before you know it, we've made either next to no calls or a few calls or something. I saw this a lot when I was in ISA, and they would stack up, and then I'd be like, all right, marathon run, Friday it is, right? Friday, we're going to do a 10-hour call day. We're going to catch up. We're going to get all the appointments, all the leads. It's going to be great. And that's fine in theory, except come Monday, I just came off of a 10-hour call day and I am zonked and I don't want to even look at a human again, right? Let alone call them. And so the cycle repeats itself. And I think this happens so often, where we're not listening to our bodies and we're forcing ourselves into this. And I still do this. I've gotten a lot better at like making myself do the thing I don't want to do. My whole philosophy is 1, 2, 3, do it scared. So I literally just count down. And when I hit 3, doesn't matter how I'm feeling, we're just doing it.
I love it.
But well, it was my mom taught me that. She was like, hey, if you're on a plane and you're skydiving, like suck to suck, you're going to have to do it scared. Just count down. And on 3, know you're going to execute. And so that makes it really easy for me. But I see that happen often in lead gen. And so instead of being this consistent flame in a fire that's burning and can grow, we're more like little fireworks sparks, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you get burnt out, because you're exerting these massive amounts of energy at once, and then you retreat because you don't have anything left. Whereas if you're just this consistent burn, you can burn down a little bit and then build up, and it compensates.
And that's huge. Can any of you, even if you're watching the replay, relate to this? Let us know down below. I will say that even if you're not cold calling, you're still doing some kind of lead generation, whether it's sending people messages in the DMs over on Instagram or on LinkedIn, or you're commenting. Listen, lead generation is so many different things to so many different people. You might just be commenting on people's posts to have a conversation, get that conversation started. But the same thing applies. You keep pushing it off, because I'm guilty of this too. You keep pushing this off, and then you have the last day where you're really jam-packing everything in, and you're still not motivated, but you're doing it, hopefully. And then you're burnt out. And then it's like, I'm done. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Consistency is the name of this game.
Yes.
And that's not saying you have to always be on it, but not taking care of yourself and not setting those boundaries and not saying no, that's like the perfect storm for burnout. And when you get burnt out, that's when I've noticed real estate agents check out during the winter market, right? They're not doing the consistent things because they're so burnt out from the other 9 months that they were hauling ass and taking names. And so they take 3 months off. But what do we know about real estate? Is that it's on a 90-day sales cycle, like most in the sales industry, but real estate specifically is a 90-day sales cycle. So if you take winter market off, your spring market's going to be low. Why? Because your consistency was off. So you weren't doing the consistent daily activities, or hell, weekly activities that get you the results in 90 days. And so I'll talk your language, real estate agents. Like, this is how we make more money. This is how we be more efficient. This is how we do more, how we get more by doing less, is these 3 things. I love it. It's just so simple in my brain. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite, right?
Yes. And I'm just popping up a comment. Thank you so much, Caitlin. So this is
what's up, Caitlin?
100% lead generation, she says. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good. And hey, Caitlin, that's like the best advice my mom ever gave me. So shout out, mama. Because literally, it's so easy. Like, I apply it to the dumbest stuff. Maybe I want to text someone something that I've been avoiding texting them, or maybe, I don't know, anything. Like, that's literally 1, 2, 3, do it. If I don't want to do it, that's the easiest way I can get myself to execute.
Yeah, no, I like it. And tying into the self-care before we head on to number 4 again is going to be, my favorite part is hydrate. Because listen, we know that there's a lot of this going on. And if you're not watching, it's holding up a coffee cup. there's a lot of this going on, and as an agent, you're probably running from one house to the next and from the office to wherever, picking up the kids, whatever it's going to be. So you're probably not doing a whole lot of drinking water
Yeah.
or eating right. So it's important to have your coffee and your water close by at all times and to stay hydrated, because really, even when we're doing this live
Mhm.
video, that's what I tell my clients all the time is always make sure that you have water close by.
Yep.
Hold the ice, because here's a
Clink.
tip for you, because you can't stop me when we're on. Um, when you are live, whether you're doing a live video or you're just recording a regular video, you want to make sure that you have water with no ice, because when you go to take a sip, there's no backsplash, right? When the ice is in there, ice will make noise and then it will
Yep.
come right in your face. And then you have a whole bunch of water all over the place. And then it just makes for a really messy video,
Or if it
which,
gets cold, you have a brain freeze, all kinds
yeah.
of things.
Yeah. So, just a little tip there, but stay hydrated because it really does help you and it keeps you going throughout your day.
Well, and it energizes you.
Mhm.
About 18 months ago, I started drinking a gallon of water a day, which is a lot of water. I definitely had to work up to it. But now I can tell you the days that I am like, I can almost tell you how much water I've had in my system, because I'm like, this is how I feel when I haven't had any water.
Yeah.
So we feel like this. This is how I feel when I'm like 50% of the way there. But like when I'm on it, I am so energized, my like clear headed. It's amazing what water alone will do for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, plenty of sleep. We know that
Yes.
that's probably as hard as getting the routine situation, setting boundaries for many of you, getting into a sleep schedule and having at least some hours dedicated to sleep. But understand that that is crucial, because, again, when you burn out, everything
Mhm.
else starts to crumble. So you got to get that sleep, even if
And when he
it's
says sleep, it's not laying in your bed typing about deals or searching the MLS. It's like actual brain rest.
yes.
I feel like
And
I need to say that because I'm so guilty of this. I'll lay in bed and be like mapping out my next 10 years of life. And I'm like, this
oh,
is
yeah.
not the brain break we need right now.
Yeah.
This counts as work, not rest.
Yeah, and if you can, I will tell you, this is probably going to be really hard for a lot of people, but if you can, try not to have the phone near your bed. If possible, have it in another room when you go to
Yeah.
sleep, but try not to have it by your bed. If have it across the room, whatever, because that will help you resist the
Mhm.
easy temptation, because it's just our brain on autopilot
Yeah.
going to grab it when we're bored
The
or
little
when there's not
robots we
something,
are.
yeah, not something happening right away. So try to remove it from being next to you as much as possible,
Mhm.
especially when you're going to sleep, because that will help you a lot
For
for you.
sure.
All right, so last but not least, we're rounding up the 4 tips of your self-care here. Well, yeah, and I thought it was a different title for a second. See, that's why I love being live, because you can keep doing all the things.
We would have just rolled right in. I would have had your back. I'd have been
Yeah,
like, "Yep, been talking about it the whole time. You're right."
exactly. Well, listen, for those who don't see or don't know what's going on behind the scenes here, is I actually have 2 windows open. I have our live broadcast where I'm also managing comments, and then I have another window open where I'm paying attention to comments on LinkedIn, and then I have my notes. So doing all of that stuff while also being part of the conversation. Sometimes you have a little hiccup here and there.
It was great.
All right. So the fourth one is find a way to decompress during your day. So I'm just going to ask you, Amanda, and everyone listening, what's one thing that you either do or could do to decompress each and every day?
Yeah, I'll tell you what my real estate agent turned coach friend taught me once. It's his version of meditation. I love him. David Breckheimer, just phenomenal man and phenomenal coach, and friend, honestly. But he is such a meditation guru. And so when I was first learning meditation, I was like, David, there's no way in hell I can get my brain to sit still for like this hour-long kumbaya, because that was what I thought meditation was for me, right? This hour-long, like, kumbaya session in the dark, whatever. And he was like, oh no, let's chat. So he called me on the phone once and he was telling me, I need to be able to access that meditative state at any time. And what if I'm driving? What if I'm in a meeting? I can't sit and go take that hour kumbaya session. And so he said I needed to find a way that I could get myself into that meditative state. And so what he does is he calls it his 3 breath method or something like that. Sorry, I'm totally butchering it. But basically he breathes in gratitude and breathes out service. And what I mean by that is he used the example of his wife. And so he says in his head while he's breathing in, breathe in, and it's 3 seconds, and it's a gratitude. And he was using his wife as an example. So I love Dina. And then he breathes out service, and I will continue to serve her for all of my days. And that's what he says in his head when he's breathing out. And he does each of them 3 times. And then he finds 3 different things to be grateful for. And so he does this breath work, and it's mental, but oh my gosh, if that has not, it's so quick and easy. You can do it in like a minute.
Wow.
But it combines gratitude, which is scientifically proven to shift mindset.
Yeah.
And it also combines service. So it taps into that people thing for us. And so whatever meditation is for you, that's just his little trick, but that has helped me so much. And like those moments of, okay, I'm driving and I'm frustrated because this just happened, but I don't have time for a kumbaya or whatever,
I love it.
I can do this just about anywhere, any time of day. It takes next to no time, and always makes a difference.
No, that's huge. That's huge. I will say for me, I have gotten into the habit of stretching more.
Oh, good.
As well as walking more. So I used to always, obviously I walk everywhere. I try to at least. But a while back, I used to always be like, I'm not going to go on a walk. I'll go to the gym if I want to work out. Like I'm not going for a walk around the neighborhood or whatever. I love both and I do both, but the walking part is something that I can actually do in the moment if I need to, without having to, plan out some time to really go somewhere. So the walking situation and getting out in nature has really, really helped a lot.
Well, and it doesn't have to, once again, for the high Ds on the DISC scale, it doesn't have to be a 60-minute walk or whatever for the overachievers here.
Right.
Like I have even noticed just getting out, even if it's like a walk to the mailbox. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when I get overwhelmed or I get like in a headspace, I just need to shake it up. Yep. I just go outside for a quick little bit, like 3 minutes. Let me walk to my mailbox and back. Cause that's, I don't know, probably takes 3 minutes total. Yeah. And even that cause it's shifting up your energy and your space and your surroundings and getting you in nature.
Yeah. And I will say for anybody who has a little more time and would like to really clear their head, what I have found is a 10 to 15 minute walk is on average, at least for me, everyone's probably going to be different, but on average, once I hit that 10-minute mark on a walk, whatever I was stressed about or working on has already left for the most part. Because, if you're in the moment and you're stressed or whatever, and you go for a walk, it doesn't instantly stop at the door. It still follows you and you're still thinking about it. But for me, what I found is that after 10 minutes is when I start to forget about it. And then it's like, oh, I actually enjoy this walk. Yeah. I'm refreshed. Now I can go back and have a clear head.
For sure. For sure. I think that's such a healthy tip because it's so easy.
Yeah.
And I love that, Caitlin.
Yeah. She said, I want to implement at least 15 minutes of decompression time each day through reading, audiobook, or listening to music and be fully present. That is such a good goal for anybody tuning in. You can agree with that one. You can put your own in the comments, like whatever it is, but that's a really, really good one because I know even I have a hard time sitting down and trying to read my books. Because I want to take notes. So then I tell myself I need to be in this zone, but I'm not in that zone. So I can't read this book.
And I need a highlighter and a pen and a different colored pen. Yeah, I'm so there. And I want to be able to type out my notes at the same time.
Yep.
And then I remove it from being decompression time and it becomes a to-do now.
Exactly. It becomes totally stressful and you're doing so many different things and you're like, I just can't. I can't do this.
Well, and I love the goal, Caitlin, to be fully present, because I heard this affirmation once, because that is like to date my hardest challenge. And this is what I tell myself when I'm trying to be fully present is I
Yeah.
am present where my feet are planted. And that becomes my
Oh,
affirmation until it's true. So I'm like, okay, where are my feet? Because Gary John Bishop, one of my favorite authors, will say the only thing that's real life is right now. You know, the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist. The only thing that is reality is right now. And
yeah.
so if I can be present where my feet are planted, where is that right now? My feet are planted in my office. So I'm present here. I'm not thinking about anything for the rest of the day, because here's where my feet are. So I love that goal.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here.
Cheers.
Today's episode was all the 4 tips. We went through them real quickly in the beginning. Then we dove deeper into each one of those as you went through the episode. So if you need to catch them or want to re-listen to them, feel free. The replay will be available here. And if you want, feel free to drop a comment down below, even on the replay, and we'll check in with you. If you need anything from us, let us know. You can reach out to Amanda or I on social at any time. Amanda, let them know what you can help them out with before we end here.
Yeah. So my lane focuses on client nurture solutions. So helping you guys stay in touch with your past clients and your sphere of influence so that they become customers for life. So we can help with anything in that lane of database management, quarterly calls, and drip campaigns.
Love it. Love it. And for those who don't know, I am a video coach. So I help you with getting on camera and being able to not only be on camera, but also share your videos across different channels here online
Mm-hmm.
that make you feel comfortable and confident with what you're putting out there so that people can see you and you can create those connections that are going to last a long time and be part of your sphere of influence and be able to
Yeah.
help you and your business continuously grow year after year. So if you need any help from either of us, feel free to always reach out to us and we'll point you in the right direction. And until next Monday, we'll be back here at 8 a.m. We'll get the camera back in just a second, but we'll be back next Monday at 8 a.m. And if you need anything in the meantime, just let us know. Take care, everyone.